Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and NewsChannel5.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast today. The Elk & Elk Company believes in giving back to the Greater Cleveland community. Managing partner Arthur Elk is here this morning to talk more about the law firm's involvement in the community. Later on, we'll hear from Cleveland Clerk of Courts Earl Turner. He'll tell us about a new ticket alert service for motorists. And later on the broadcast after that, the Urban League Board Chairman Robert McRae will tell us about the Urban League's annual Equal Opportunity Day Luncheon. Good morning, everybody. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope. And so we begin. Beginning with Arthur Elk, managing partner of Elk & Elk. Good to see you, Arthur.
It's good to be here with you, Leon.
We see you often on television. You are often there, one of those recognizable faces and firms in Greater Cleveland.
Well, thank you.
And things are going well in the law business, I would imagine?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of good things going on.
Yeah. One of the things I know that you and your brother Dave established is a strong community presence. Tell me the philosophy behind that strong community presence.
Well, you know, being a strong community partner is something that we believe very deeply in. And we believe in giving back and making a difference within our community. And we try and emanate that with all of our employees. And we try and promote it with all of our employees, and we do a lot of things in that regard to make sure that all of our attorneys, all of our staff are actively involved within our community.
Mm-hmm. I know one of the things you've done is you've been an assistant to Metro Health Medical Center. Tell me about what you've been doing with Metro Health.
Actually, we were fortunate enough to be a leading contributor in the medical ground unit. Which is a brand new ambulance that has all of the latest technology and can provide life-saving services on a moment's notice. Mm-hmm. They have oxygen, they have ultrasound, they have direct communications with specialists at Metro Hospital. And it's a life-saving unit. Yeah. And it's quite wonderful.
So the law and the medical profession have merged at this particular point.
Well, this is all part of our belief that we need to give back to our community. Mm-hmm. And being a strong partner with charities and with organizations like Metro Hospital, it's very important to us, and it's very important in the culture of our law firm to promote that amongst all of our attorneys and our staff.
I'm old enough to remember when law firms did not advertise on television, and all of a sudden the rules were changed. You and I were chatting about that before the broadcast. Yes. The rules were changed to allow law firms to actually advertise. The kids out there may not understand that that was not always the
It was not always the case.
That opened the door for you to get your name out, although you may not have been in the law at that time when the rules were changed.
I was probably still a college student at that time, and went on to become an assistant county prosecutor and then a county prosecutor. Mm-hmm. And I was about 10 years in the county prosecutor's office in Ashland County, and I noticed that it was important to bring the niche of injury law to rural Ohio. And that's when I approached my brother about, developing a law firm that would provide that service to all of rural Ohio. And we started advertising back in 1984.
When you and your brother were growing up in Cleveland Heights, did you get together and say, we ought to go into the law business? When you were teenagers, did you think about it?
No, not at all. Not at all. We were too busy having fun as kids.
What was it that made you decide you wanted to go into the law?
That's a great question. I've always had an interest in the law. I remember, and you may remember this, remember the old Perry Mason show?
Very well, starring Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr, exactly. I remember watching that as a kid and loving it, and I always had this passion for the law, and I think I focused on that. right through undergraduate school and had my eye on law school.
Well, one thing about the Perry Mason show, I don't recall Perry Mason ever lost a case. He always won. You've kept that going too.
we like to win, and what was always interesting about the Perry Mason show is that he would always get the witness to actually confess to everything. Okay,
it would be nice, wouldn't it?
Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen.
You've got some community events coming up that you want to plug and talk a little bit about.
Absolutely. You know, we've been a strong community partner with the St. Augustine Hunger Center here in Cleveland, and we've been doing that for over 10 years. And on November 26th, coming up over Thanksgiving, we donate thousands of turkeys, and we have our lawyers there unloading trucks and helping to stock their pantry. And we encourage people to come out, bring turkeys, bring canned goods, and drop it off right at St. Augustine's Hunger Center on West 14th. And we'll be out there collecting and helping stock that pantry. And my brother and I usually get involved in turkey carving contests.
Yeah, okay, well, that'll be a lot of fun.
At the Hunger Center, yeah.
Okay, we'll see the Elk and Elk brothers doing that. By the way, why don't we put a phone number on the screen if there's another one you want to plug. We've got about 30 seconds remaining.
Sure.
800-ELK, 800-ELK, Ohio is the phone number, or you can go to Elk and Elk, that's E-L-K, elkandelk.com/community, more information on everything we're talking about. Is there something else you want to plug while you're here?
Well, you know, Toys for Tots is coming up as well, and we've had a strong partnership with them. We have a drop-off at our Mayfield Heights office and also at our West 25th Street office, which is right across from Metro Hospital.
Okay.
So bring down some toys for the kids that are in need.
It's nice to be involved in the community. You're doing what you need to do in the courtroom and protecting people's rights and certainly defending people's rights, but also working in the community as well.
Thank you, Leon. I appreciate that.
Arthur Elk of Elk and Elk, Arthur and Dave Elk. We see their commercials on television all the time. I like the one where you're moving something around on a big screen like that. I love those commercials. They must be striking a chord. I remember them.
Well, thank you very much. We work very hard at trying to make things interesting.
You're on the air as much as I am. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Leon.
Thank you so much, Arthur Elk of Elk and Elk. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back in just a moment. We'll hear from the Cleveland Clerk of Courts, Earl B. Turner, after this.
Thank you, Leon.
Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. Always glad to have you on the broadcast today. The Cleveland Clerk of Courts office has a new service for motorists. Cleveland Clerk of Courts Earl Turner is here to tell us all about it. He'll talk about his In the Neighborhood program. Good to have you with us, Earl.
Thank you, Leon. It's an honor to be here once again with you.
Yeah, it's always good to see you, my friend. Tell me about this In the Neighborhood program.
Well, In the Neighborhood started 5 years ago, and we've seen over 9,000 people in that time period. And what we try to do is help people to come in, get their warrants taken care of, because there's so many people that once they get in the system, they don't know how to get out of the system. And so we go into the neighborhood, we go to churches, we go to corners, and basically we've morphed into just doing churches. And we see about 100 and some people every time we go in the neighborhood. And it's just been phenomenal.
If they've got a warrant hanging over their head,
yes,
you help them. Let's deal with this.
What we do is we bring our staff, and they're able to sit one-on-one and tell their story. What's the problem? You know, what has kept them from coming into court? We're
looking at some video of right now. This is part of that, right?
Yes, and that's at the Word Church and the various churches that we go to in the neighborhood. And as you can see, we see people one-on-one. We give them an opportunity. You don't get arrested. And that's what a lot of people are frightened of, that they're going to get arrested. And in the past, there's been programs that are similar to ours, but it's been a trick. And our program is not a trick.
So let me put a phone number on the screen, and we'll get that on as soon as we continue talking about it. It is 664-6106. That's the In the Neighborhood program. So it's just a wonderful opportunity to get that. If I can't find another phrase other. Get that monkey off your back.
Get that monkey off. And we've changed this year. We added, and then we're going to start up again in 2015. But we said let's take a holistic approach to it. We've added the juvenile court. We've added child support. We have various partners now. We have the Board of Elections. We've had the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. So, and then we have our services. So instead of people just coming and get our services, they're able to come talk about the warrants that they may have from child support. And so then they're able to talk to people what they need to do, to get their license back, even from child support. And even through juvenile court, if there was court dates needed, we have a total program now, and not just our services.
You're enabling people to sleep better at night,
yes.
So they're not looking over their shoulder.
And to top it off, we have what is called Seal My Record. We try to help people get their record sealed, because a lot of people don't realize that many of these arrests, if you don't get them sealed from the arrest record all the way through, then part of that hangs on to you. So if you go get a job, or looking for a job, it's difficult.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that new ticket alert system now. Now, what kind of tickets are we talking about?
Well, basically, we're talking about parking tickets and red light tickets.
Inside the city of Cleveland?
Yes, inside the city of Cleveland. That's correct. And we have what is called a ticket alert program, where people, like my kids, and my kids drive my cars, and every now and then I look up and I got a ticket. And so
the clerk of court says a ticket.
They'll get a red light ticket. They get tickets. So the program is designed to help parents or anybody that lets other people use their car. Which all you need to do, you need an email address, and then you can sign up at clevelandticketparking.com, and you just look on the left-hand side of the screen, and all you need to do is create a password. And then you can go into the system, and there's just so many options there for you. I'll give you an example. If there's a collection on a ticket that you weren't aware of, if your car was ever scheduled to be towed, or if you have a hearing, there's just so much there. But what happens when you give us an email address, once a ticket is issued, then we notify you that there's a ticket on your car.
On your car, you may not even known about it. Like your kids may have been driving and didn't tell you.
I just got a notice last week that my son, he was driving my car. He was downtown, and I got a ticket. So I had to immediately call my son and say, son, you owe me $25. You have to pay for that ticket.
Was the information from Earl B. Turner?
The information was from Earl B. Turner. But
from you to you.
Yes, but we learned that in the neighborhood because there were so many people complaining that they didn't know they had 500, 600, or 1,000. Because what happens is grandmothers and mothers, they allow their loved ones to use their car. And then they're accumulating tickets. Then all of a sudden, when we put a registration block on that car to get licensed, then heck breaks loose.
Yeah, and this is something we all have to do in this society, because when you're caught, especially on a camera, it just looks at the license plate and the ownership of the car.
That's correct.
It goes right back
to
that.
Leon, so far the program, we have over 200 people that have signed up. It's a great program.
Well, thank goodness that you've got this signed up, so people are at least finding out that the kid ran the red light or whatever. Okay. Good to have you with us, Earl Turner. Let me put a couple of phone numbers on the screen for this information on the Ticket Alert program. You can get more information by calling 216-664-4744, or you can go to clevelandparkingtickets.com.
That's correct.
And that's that website that you guys have set up. And for information on In the Neighborhood regarding warrants that may be hanging over you and you want to get those taken care of so you don't get in any further trouble, call 216-664-6106, or you can go to the website cmoch.org. You see that at the bottom of the screen. Always good to have you on the broadcast.
It's truly an honor, and your program has just been so good. I mean, people, see your programs and they start calling us. When is in the next neighborhood? So we have to tell them it's in the spring.
Well, good deal. Good to have you on the broadcast.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your clerk of courts in the city of Cleveland, my good friend and yours, Earl B. Turner.
Thank you very much.
You might get a letter from him here and there. Okay, thank you, Earl. Good to see you. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. The Urban League's annual Equal Opportunity Day. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. You're in touch with Kaleidoscope. You know, the Urban League of Greater Cleveland hosts its annual Equal Opportunity Day luncheon on November the 21st. The board chairman, Robert McRae, is here to tell us about the event, as is the president and the CEO of the Urban League, your friend and mine, Marcia Mockaby. Hey, Marcia.
Hey, Leon.
Robert.
Good morning, Leon.
Refresh us about, as if I didn't know, but refresh us about the overall mission of the Urban League.
Absolutely. We'll be happy to. The overall mission of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland is really about empowering communities and changing lives. We are in the business of helping to develop human capital for all kinds of demand industries. And we do that whether we're working with students that are in high school or even as early as K-8 school, and getting them to stay in school, progress through, do what they need to do so that they can build a meaningful career for themselves and become self-sufficient.
So you have to raise money in order to do this, this kind of thing. So one of the big events coming up is what you're here to talk about, Robert, and that's the Equal Opportunity Day luncheon set for Friday, November the 21st. Tell me about that.
That's correct, Leon. This is our 23rd annual luncheon, and this is one of our premier fundraising events to support the work that the League is doing. A lot of what we do is funded through different states and, through different grants and programs. This is one of those opportunities that allows us to raise some of the soft money to do the things in the community that we don't necessarily get a lot of funding for through those grants and other programs. So we have, our presenting sponsors, American Family Insurance and Dominion, have been helpful and with us each year to help raise money for these programs.
It's a good thing. You've been doing this for years. Now, the Urban League has been doing this for years, I should say.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's a chance to keep the name out there, keep the brand out there, and to raise money at the same time.
Yes, and to let the community know exactly what we are doing, what the Urban League has been up to, and to garner support and goodwill and partnerships with other organizations in the Cleveland community that are working on these same programs of self-sufficiency and empowering the folks in our communities.
Marcia, over the years, over the 100 years or so of the Urban League, has its mission stayed pretty much the same, or has it evolved?
It has evolved, but I think that the core mission, Leon, no matter what's happening in the environment or what's happening within the employment segment or education, we're always about making sure that doors of access are open for minority individuals. And that changes from time to time. I mean, back in agricultural times there were those kind of doors, and then in the industrial age there were those kind of doors. So depending on what the market looks like, you may have different, but the strategy is still the same, keeping the doors open and helping get people connected.
Strong philosophy remains the same.
Yes.
This event is going to be Friday, the 21st of November, starts at 11:30 in the morning.
Yes.
It's a luncheon at the Westin. You're going to go to the Westin Hotel this year.
Absolutely.
That's the new Westin at the corner of East 6th Street and St. Clair right now.
That's exactly right.
777 St. Clair Avenue.
We actually changed venues because we needed more space. We were selling out our capacity before, and this is an opportunity to move to a larger venue and get more people engaged and involved.
Who's going to be the keynote speaker?
Well, this year our theme is really going to be focusing on highlighting the trailblazers that have been empowering people in our community, specifically those underserved. So we'll be highlighting a number of organizations and those trailblazers that have worked along those lines.
Tickets are available. What must people do if they want to go to this event, which is going to be Friday, November the 21st?
They can do one of two things. They can go to our website at www.ulcleveland.org, or they may call the Urban League at 216 622-0999 and ask about tickets, and we can serve you that way as well.
And of course, we thank the control room for keeping that number in our file. They simply put it up on the screen as you were talking. That's what
Like
I love
magic,
about our wonderful control room.
Yes.
You got the Small Business Administration going on, the Small Business Development Center going on, part of the Urban League. That's a key component to what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
Helping small businesses stay in business.
Absolutely. One of the main charters of the Urban League on a national level, really over the last few years, has been focused on jobs. It's jobs, jobs, jobs. Our entrepreneurship is an important part of empowering folks locally to be able to start businesses that become viable businesses and then employ people in our community. Part of our three-pronged approach, if you will, is to help that entrepreneurship piece, but then also help train the workforce to be able to have the skills needed to get those jobs when these businesses start hiring for them.
Once again, it's going to be the Equal Opportunity Day Luncheon, sponsored by the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, one of its primary fundraisers. Friday, November the 21st, begins at 11:30 in the morning. It is a luncheon, and it is at the Westin Hotel. That's the new Westin at the corner of East 6th Street and St. Clair Avenue in downtown Cleveland. We'll all be there. It'll all be a wonderful, wonderful event.
Yes, we will be there.
As she says, the lady will be there. We're going to take a break. Marcia will continue to be with us in our final segment. I'll be right back in just a moment. The Morning Exchange segment means words of wisdom from Marcia Maccabee of the Urban League, who continues to stay with us, and Robert McRae stays with us as well. What are you thinking about today?
Well, we're thinking about, I'd love to just continue the conversation that we've been having about the Equal Opportunity Day Luncheon that's coming up on November 21st. There are a lot of changes, Leon, that are going on in the environment around workforce. There's been a new Workforce Opportunity Investment Act that was signed into law back in September, and it's going to really change the way that funding comes into our communities for helping young people. So that's going to be a big issue. There's also a lot of looking at what's happening with the gaps in skills that exist here with the residents of the Cleveland area who may not have the educational credentials or what have you. So there's going to be a lot of work that needs to happen over the next year or so. The opportunity corridor is here. There's just a number of things where we need to put our attention around helping individuals to get higher skills, better education, to get those great jobs that give a living wage.
And in our final 30 seconds, that's one of the things that you're working with as chairman of the board for the Urban League, right?
That's correct, Leon. We're looking at different ways to be able to take advantage of these different initiatives that are happening, whether it's the jobs corridor or preparing for the conventions that are coming to town or just the economic growth. We are looking at viable ways to really give people the skills for the jobs that are out there today and get them employed.
So that's one of the primary missions of the Urban League, and as we have said in our last segment, and as you have said and I have said for years, that's been the goal from the very beginning. Was it 1917? 1917?
Yes.
You guys have done a wonderful job since 1917, and they continue to do it. That's going to do it for us. For Robert McRae and for Marcia Maccabee, I'm Leon Bibb. Take care and be well.
Thank you.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and NewsChannel 5.